Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters news video. I thought I would mix this one in here while I'm continuing to do your mysteries and disappearances suggestions. This one having to do with a throwback, almost something that I touched upon a couple years back on a previous video, and that was involving the world of celebrities and some of the beliefs that they had in when it comes to cryptids. In this case though, I'm going to dedicate this to one celebrity because when I was reading this information on a news site, it made me realize this is a world famous celebrity and he's gone on several, not just one, but two actual cryptid hunts. It was really fascinating to read this information because one of those is an all-star and the other one is more of a local cryptid. But I'm going to chronicle both of them here, and then that way you'll get to see essentially what his travels entailed. You're looking at him now, obviously, he's a world famous star. And for this video, it's going to be called Charlie Sheen's Cryptid Expeditions. So let's go ahead and let's talk about those here. And I'd love to hear what your own thoughts and comments are on this too. Who knew, right? That when it comes to Charlie Sheen, he would have this love of cryptids. So I'm a big fan of some of his work. I haven't seen much of everything, but I have seen Wall Street. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a really, really good movie. One of my favorites. In fact, I would easily rank it within my top 5. His character in there, Bud Fox, is absolutely a very memorable character. And so to this day, I still have a great fascination with that movie. I haven't seen, again, much of his other work. So stuff involving Platoon or the TV show 2.5 Men and then other stuff. It hasn't really gone on my radar. I remember seeing, though, years back, The Arrival, and I thought that that was a pretty good film in there, too. It might have touched on him actually showcasing some of his beliefs as well. I mean, if someone usually believes in cryptids, they tend to believe in UFOs as well, or aliens and UFOs. But let's talk about his expeditions. So this would be something that I would be doing as well. If I had untold millions of dollars like him at my disposal, I would gladly, absolutely go on these expeditions to multiple places, both here in the US and across the world, to try to see some of these cryptids in person, or if not, at least be able to go to those locations. That's essentially what he did. Back in 2013, according to the news article I was reading, he grandiosely stated, you know Charlie Sheen, right? It's always about his antics and theatrics. He stated that he was going to lead an expedition to Scotland, and this was because he was going to try to find the world famous Loch Ness monster. So when I mentioned an all-star, this is definitely one of the top ones out there. He tweeted it, and he was going to showcase that, yes, him and a small crew were going to go there. They were going to capture it, or at least capture evidence associated with it, and then break it to the world in terms of this type of news. Interestingly enough, one of the hotel managers that was there, a guy by the name of Willie Cameron, stated that out of the blue he had received a phone call from someone who identified themselves first as just an American, asking for a quote-unquote an old-style wooden rowing boat, a traditional Tilly lamp, a boat hook, a thick chain, and a leg of lamb. Apparently, this is a throwback to a scene from the movie Jaws. I haven't seen that movie completely. I've seen bits here and there, so if those of you that know what that scene is about, I'm sure you'll be able to post it in the comments below. But either way, though, he was there. He went to that location. I went to that lake specifically. And while he couldn't get a rowing boat from that hotel manager, he ended up buying one himself for about $2,500, I guess. And then that's when him and his little posse, in this case, 2 other friends, basically just spent an evening right there on that lake with the Loch Ness monster area, trying to see if anything could come about. And so he was there, and they spent that entire evening just watching and waiting. There was nothing, though, that came about from that expedition. As it turns out, the leg of lamb ended up disappearing, but I'm most likely think it's just from other animals or sea creatures that were within the lake itself that were munching and then probably dragging it away and probably broke the noose or something associated with it. But they ultimately had no sign there of the Loch Ness monster. Interestingly enough, though, some of the other tourists that are there that are trying to find the Loch Ness monster themselves, they actually blamed him. Maybe some of his antics or who knows what he was doing on the boat in terms of loud noises and so on, for scaring away the creature, for scaring away this cryptid. And that's why essentially they didn't have any luck associated with gathering evidence of the Loch Ness monster. But then that very same year, guess what? Charlie Sheen ended up going to Alaska. If you're wondering what he was going to be doing in Alaska, he went specifically to a spot called Sitka, Alaska, and he was there to hunt another cryptid. This one, though, is much lesser known. This is clearly something that is more of a local creature. One, I've talked about it in the past on my channel too, the Kushtaka. This is the half man, half otter, something that's considered a trickster or a benevolent creature, or in some cases outright evil. And apparently it's there in the southeastern Alaska area, and he was going to be there as well to try to essentially get it, or at least get some evidence tied to it. In fact, he gave an interview to TMZ, and here's what he stated. It lures one away from the campsite with the mimic sounds of a crying baby, then kills you, takes on your form, and returns to the scene for more suckers or prey. He's actually right about that. Looking at the information again associated with the Kushtaka, it does indeed have the half form of a human, half form of an otter, but is also a shapeshifter. So it can absolutely mimic yourself, I guess, after it's done the deed in terms of killing you. And then he highlighted how the creature is able to, again, mimic the sounds associated with crying baby. That's one part. And another part, they also mimic the sound of a woman, like the screams of a woman. So it's done in a way, in a morbid way, where when someone hears either a cries of a baby or the screams of a woman nearby, they're going to rush over to try to help and see what's going on. And then that's when the Kushtaka is there. It kills the person, and then again, either turns them into a Kushtaka or takes on their own form as well. He concluded this the interview by stating that they kind of failed to come across this creature, which makes sense. It's going to be pretty hard to do so, especially again with some of his antics. But he said, almost tongue-in-cheek, he said, it obviously knew our group was far too skilled to be snowed in this fashion, so it stayed hidden like a sissy. And that was his final thoughts associated with trying to go on the hunt for the Kushtaka. So what do you guys think when it comes to that? Here you have, again, Charlie Sheen going on these 2 worldwide expeditions trying to find either the Loch Ness monster or the Kushtaka. In both cases, just failing 100% miserably, but still having a great time being able to go out there in person. I won't lie, I'm definitely jelly when it comes to that, because the idea of going to those spots and then being able to spend some time there, even if there's nothing discovered, it's just being there that absolutely would make my time, like it would absolutely make my year to be able to go to one of those specific spots and then just hang around and then see what else happens afterward. But let me know what you guys think about this particular news video. If anyone knows any more information about some of the other expeditions you might have had, please post it in the comments below. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.